Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Amber Serpent. My name is Golveg. Well, this week we have a very special episode of your Full Moon Tarot report, as well as Rune Reading Wednesday, because both the full moon as well as Rune Reading Wednesday are both falling on this Wednesday. So it's not uncommon for me in my personal readings to get a bird's eye view of a particular situation through the runes and then drill down into details using the tarot. So we're going to have a little bit of a 2-for-1 today. We're going to take a look at how we might be able to harness the energy of this full moon in Aries to serve our best and highest good. And then whatever details that we need to ask for some specific clarity, we'll use the tarot for that. This week has been a huge week. I don't know about you, but for me, I have felt a lightning. Energy has been really thick. It's been so heavy these last few months because we had so many planets in retrograde. And last week we had Pluto that came out of retrograde and went direct. So the god of the underworld came out of the underworld. Finally, this week we also had Jupiter that went direct. Holla! And we also had Mercury that came out of retrograde and went direct as well. Ugh. So if you're feeling like things might I'm not going to say getting easier, but if you're feeling like you're not moving through tar as much, then it's because these planets are all going direct. So with that being said, let's take a look and see how this full moon in Aries might be able to accentuate that. Aries is a fiery kind of energy. It is an energy that is associated with the sovereign self. It's associated with having good, firm boundaries in order to protect the sovereign self. In its shadow aspect, it can be selfish. But there's a lot that we can learn from Aries. Aries is also the very first sign of the zodiac. So here in my mind, I feel like we might be perhaps maybe traversing into a new cycle of some sort, and maybe we'll get some insight into that with the reading. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, so energy doesn't know time or space. So even though you're watching this in a recording, take a moment and let's connect with our intention. What is it that we need to know to benefit us the most in the most positive way? To direct this Aries full moon energy. How might we direct this Aries full moon energy in the most positive way to benefit us the most? Okay. Rune pool number 1. All right. We have 4 runes that came out. One of the very first runes is Thor's rune, Thorasaz, Tamer of Chaos, and it helps us to inject our will into a particular situation. The next rune that comes up, this is one that I think a lot of us may really be glad to see, which is Dagas. And Dagas is about the light of day, hope, renewal, rebirth, clarity, and intuition. We have Isa, rest, or it might even mean that a particular situation is frozen. This might be something we might get some more clarity with the tarot. And we have Ingwaz, the sacred masculine principle, action, activity. And it's also about the seed of potential. Ingwaz is very closely related to Aries type of energy because Aries is also related to the planet Mars, which is associated with the sacred masculine as well. So I find that interesting. All right, rune pool number 2. Got a 3 for here. Okay, we have Urus, manifestation, physical vitality, power, communication. Well, it's very interesting that Mercury is going direct, and now that we have the communication rune that comes out. And, 1 second, I'll let that very loud vehicle pass by. And then we have Perthro. And when I pulled Perthro, the open side of it was facing away from Urus and Anzus. So when this is facing away, what I get from that is that Urus and Anzus are going to be birthing. Let's take a look. What is Urus and Anzus going to be birthing? Ooh. I'll take it. We have gift for a gift, my friends, Gibo. By the way, this is also where we get X's and O's for kisses and hugs. But it's about reciprocation. What comes to my mind with the horse and the rider is we have new relationships or a new way of relating. And then inheritance, and with Othala, inheritance and family. So perhaps we are birthing, gestating a new relationship with those that are closest to us. It doesn't have to be blood relatives when it comes to Othala. So let's take a look, and I have some ideas as to what Isa is referring to, but let's get some clarity on Isa. What is the significance of Isa, which, by the way, is the ice rune that we pulled. It's the third one that we pulled. What is the significance of Isa? Okay, so we have the King of Wands reversed. And we have the Prince of Swords reversed. Prince of Swords reversed is very much aligned with the energy of Isa. Isa is the ice rune. It can be a need for meditation. It can be a need to pause. And it can also mean that a particular situation might be frozen. So here we have in the King of Wands, like, this is very much associated with Aries energy, and with it being reversed, it means that there is a possibility here with this full moon that we might run into the shadow side of the fiery energy, which is aggression, being frustrated, short-tempered. With Anzus, with the communication rune, I would definitely take a moment to pause before you speak. So if there are some challenging situations or things that might be triggering you, make sure that you take a moment to just at least take just a breath. Maybe even walk away, and then come back when you can communicate in a way that's clear, respectful, powerful, and at the same time isn't abusive. So, and you know, the King of Wands, the other thing that's coming to me too, especially in relationship to the communication rune, is that there's like kind of this misconception that is pretty common, where power always has to be explosive, where it has to be dramatic and big and action, and that's not the only way that power is presented. A lot of times when people are screaming and yelling, it's coming from a place where they feel the least powerful. And usually that kind of communication doesn't get results the way that perhaps more clear, diplomatic communication might. So we may be able to communicate in a way that is actually going to get us results versus just being heard. There's a difference between being listened to and being heard. So when you're listened to, folks will resonate with what it is that you're saying. Just being heard is they'll understand, but they're not really resonating. So this is a really common thing when people are on their cell phones, right? And I've had this conversation with loved ones, and I'm talking to them and I'm like, hey, you're not listening to me. And then they'll repeat exactly what I just said, word for word. They heard every single word that I said, but they didn't listen. They weren't feeling me. You see? So we have a real opportunity here that even though there might be some kind of like irksome kind of energy that might arise, especially since Pluto and Mars have kind of been squaring off lately, that there might be an opportunity to be able to balance imbalances because they might arise to the surface. But what's going to be really important is how we communicate those imbalances and how we communicate our own needs in order to rebalance certain situations and relationships. And that comes with Thurasaz, which is one of its association is boundaries. Firm boundaries don't have to be explosive. They don't have to be yelled. They don't have to be pushy per se, but they do have to be strong. And we do have to hold firm to them and sometimes remind people that they're there. So with that, we have the if we can do all of that, then we have the opportunity to use this energy for our greater good, which is the seed of potential. So Aries as well, I just want to, there you go, now you can see it. Aries, as well as the planet that's associated with the planet, with the constellation Aries, or the zodiac sign of Aries, sometimes it gets like a one-dimensional kind of communication around it, where we think Mars, god of war. But it's not just warlike. That's the shadow side of Mars and Aries. It's not just pushy or aggressive. It's also what gets us off the couch. And that's the sacred masculine principle. The sacred masculine principle is very active. And it is what allows us the fire to germinate the seeds, because this is the Ingwas is the seed, to germinate the seeds so that they can manifest and grow into something that's worthwhile harvesting. So allow the fire of this Aries full moon to be kind of a slow simmer, a churning. I'm almost feeling like a combustion engine, but one that's more like slow, like a steam engine, where it doesn't have to be super. It doesn't have to be super explosive. You don't have to get everything done right now. You don't have to do all of the things. Just choose one step at a time. It can be really overwhelming to try to take it all in and try to do everything and try to get everything done at one time. The other thing too around this, as far as the communication, gestating and birthing something new, that brings us to the last three runes, where we had Gibo, and then what's coming to me with the horse and the rider and our inheritance or family is also delegation. What if some of the changes within our relationships is more delegation, asking for assistance or help? Asking for help can be one of the most powerful stances that a person can take. So here's another misconception about power, is that it's the self-made person, and that, you pull yourself up from your bootstraps, and, it's all about independence and, being, whatever. You're basically being alone and being really powerful. And that is also a very one-dimensional perspective on power. First of all, there's no such thing as a self-made person. Oh, we have another loud motorcycle. Just 1 second. Talk about explosive masculine energy. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, the pulling yourself up. There's no such thing as a self-made person. Everybody has some sort of influence on us, whether or not that influence is from a teacher that inspired us, a parent, a friend, a TV show, a book. a story. Something inspires us to make certain shifts or changes or to take a different direction. We don't live in a vacuum. So there really is no such thing as the self-made person. Yes, we are the ones that make those decisions, and we're the ones that it's our responsibility to do what it is that we need to do to make those shifts and changes, but we don't do it completely by ourselves. Either somebody has opened up an opportunity for us, or they have assisted us, or they just showed up and did a YouTube video or wrote a book or produced a TV show that really had some sort of inspiration or influence on us. So it's really just better off that we just let go of that self-made person myth and allow ourselves the birthright of being able to live in community and in relationship to other people. And that is really about the reciprocation here. Allow ourselves to ask for help. And the other thing with this Aries energy is that we might feel more fidgety. Like we have to just keep doing. We have to just go, 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 go. And the Prince of Swords is saying, slow down, yo. Slow your roll, yo. Slow down. That if we allow ourselves to go into that energy and just have action for action's sake, just to kind of stay busy, so to speak, we're going to end up actually less productive in the long run. It's a lot better for us to just pause. Ice Rune, Prince of Swords. So funny how the energies end up kind of reflecting each other. And just pause and, again, take a breath before you choose what the next step is. So basically what I'm seeing is like the overall theme here is pause before we act. It doesn't mean that you have to meditate all day, but ask ourselves if is what I'm doing right now or how I'm choosing to spend my time coming from a conscious place where I feel that it's actually aligning me to what it is I want to manifest, or am I just kind of spinning my wheels, feeling like I'm doing a lot, but not really all that productive? And delegating, asking for help, asking for assistance, perspective, feedback, and taking and pausing before we speak, pausing before we communicate. So that's what I got here for our rune reading, full moon tarot, full moon and Aries tarot reading, all in one here, folks. So thank you so much for joining me here at Rune Reading Wednesday, full moon tarot reading, and I look forward to seeing you back here next week, where we will see what the runes have to say for how we can best utilize our energy for the next coming week. All right, guys, I am having a couple of events coming up this weekend. So Friday and Sunday, I will be at Everything Just Rocks Crystal Shop, where folks can get up to 45% off of 1-hour readings as well as shamanic healing. And also, if you are looking forward to needing to get some one-on-one sessions or readings over the next month or so, I am doing those virtually as well as in person. Just drop me a line at info@amberserpent.com. All right, folks, have a great rest of your week and happy full moon. See you next week. Bye.